Welcome to the Kino Cave, guys, and today we're continuing with All Hallows Kino, the spooky season, with a review for Mary Shelley's Frankenstein from 1994. So I'm a huge fan of... I'm a huge Universal monster movie fan. I have been since I was a teenager. Frankenstein was the first classic monster movie that I ever watched. It's had an impact on me ever since. I love the classic monsters, and I've watched a lot of their subsequent adaptations and sequels and remakes and all that, and some of them are okay. This is one of the okay ones. So this is a film... Oh yeah, this film is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. It's from 1994. It's directed by Kenneth Branagh, and Kenneth Branagh is looking sexy as hell. Like, that might be the sexiest point in his career. This film was obviously made off the back of Bram Stoker's Dracula, which was directed by Francis Ford Coppola. That's way too many fucking names. This film was supposed to be made as kind of like a continuation of that trend, and I guess they were going to do H.G. Wells's The Invisible Man at some point as well. So this film kind of did kill it in the crib, though. It's not very well received, but I kind of like it as like this hilarious, campy kind of horror movie. But it's not really a horror movie. No, it is a horror movie. So the book has a million interpretations, and one day I'll talk about it. I don't think I've talked about the book Frankenstein. I will get into that book at some stage, but honestly, I don't know how I'm going to be able to cover that because it's so dense and there's so many interpretations that we can take when it comes to that book. At its core, for me specifically, the book is about how man mimics God and creates a monster, and man is the monster, and also how society looks at the other and how it treats other people, and it's a lot to do with xenophobia and all that kind of thing. So I think this movie adapts the themes of the book pretty well up until kind of the end. It lifts obviously most of its scenes from the book directly. I think that it takes it pretty well. The monster learns and becomes like an eloquent speaker and that, but then he becomes disenfranchised because he's, even his one friend in the world, he ends up getting run out of town by that friend's family, and he realizes that he'll never be accepted into regular society. And it's a lot about how we create our own demons. We create monsters by treating the other as a monster. What I do find interesting is the big change from the book when Dr. Frankenstein reanimates Elizabeth as the bride, and it kind of goes from themes of motherhood and ownership of women in the book to becoming kind of a love triangle almost, because the reanimated Elizabeth, I guess I'll call her the bride because she's not really Elizabeth anymore, I guess. But when she wakes up, she's torn because she vaguely remembers being in love with Dr. Frankenstein, but also she feels like a different entity now. Like, she feels like a monster in the same vein as the monster. So, paralyzed by indecision, I guess, she just runs out and kills herself instead. What I do find interesting about this whole thing is, in the confusion and horror of two men claiming ownership over her, she sees the only escape from that is to set herself on fire and kill herself and get out of that situation, because she didn't necessarily want to be revived, and she also doesn't want to be a bride to the doctor, who is another monster in his own right, or the creature, who is a more literal monster. So she's caught between two monsters, and they're both claiming ownership over her, and her only out is to set herself on fire and literally destroy herself, because she realizes that she doesn't actually have any autonomy anymore. Read into that what you will, I'm not going to explain it to you. Getting into the more superficial stuff, the acting is pretty over the top from Kenneth Branagh. He's just running around shirtless, just doing whatever. He really wants us to know that he worked out in preparation for this movie, because he's got like little abs and pecs and stuff, which is fair. That's totally cool. I'd do the same. So well done, Kenneth. Helena Bonham Carter is also kind of going insane in this movie and doing every line read like she's at a concert or something. She's just screaming and shouting everything. So I appreciate that as well. I like how this film is kind of insane and campy. I will say though, De Niro is not right for Frankenstein's monster. He's an excellent actor, obviously. He's one of the greats. But this just isn't the type of thing that he's good at. Like, and there's a lot of things he's good at. I actually think he's quite funny in some of the comedies that he does. I think that he's obviously amazing in the likes of Taxi Driver or Goodfellas. He's good at playing a more kind of serious and down to earth character, but and he's trying to do that with Frankenstein's monster, but he has to be silly because everything around him is so silly, and he's also acting through like heavy prosthetic makeup, and I just don't think he pulls it off very well. I don't think he can really be this kind of insane in his performance, but maybe there's a performance out there where he does do something like that and it works, but I just don't think it works here. I think the overall direction and camera work is solid. I like Kenneth Branagh as a director. I really like Thor, and that Cinderella movie that he made, I think that's quite good. He's kind of a hit and miss director. He's an excellent actor though, and I think he's great, in his camera work and his direction here. I think it's pretty good. I think the look of this movie overall is pretty good. It's got good lighting, it's got good color, and that kind of thing, which is insane in the year of our Lord 2025 because, movies look like this now. I will say though, the music is way too much. Like there's too much of it in places, and it's also too loud and it's too overbearing. I would have preferred maybe for some scenes just a bit of a more kind of quieter tone. I will say the makeup is excellent though. I really enjoy the makeup effects on Elizabeth and the monster. The prosthetic artist was Marc Coulier. He's worked on Poor Things and New Suspiria and even Wicked and things like that. And the actual makeup artist is Christine Alsop, who also does a very good job. She's done a bunch of stuff. So yeah, makeup effects are very, very good, which is, I would argue, possibly the most important thing when you're making a Frankenstein film. I think the makeup is kind of integral to that, and I think it's solid here. I like this stitched together kind of look, although I am very excited for the upcoming Frankenstein film directed by Guillermo del Toro and starring Jacob Elordi, because that looks to be adhering really close to the book, which is what I want to see. Because, 101 films have done the Jack Pierce design, which is incredible. Like, there's a reason why. The flat face, the flat top head, the clamps, the bolts, all that kind of thing. But especially with Guillermo del Toro directing, I want to see a fucking proper book accurate Frankenstein. He's supposed to look hot, like Jake Elordi, and have long black hair and black lips and yellow skin. That's what he's supposed to look like. And from what I've seen so far, that's what he's going to look like. So I am so excited. With all that being said, guys, that is my review of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Let me know what you think of this film. I think it's kind of an underrated movie, maybe, from the 90s. But it is a bit divisive, so let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Leave a like in this video if you liked it, and happy Halloween season, everybody. I'm having such a good time in October, and I hope you are too. Have a great and spooky day.